So I'm finding that a crazy new challenge of doing these videos is that I never know what is going to be good fodder for a video until maybe I've started working a little bit. Here is a piece of work that a client has requested of me, and it immediately started looking very difficult. And for that reason, I opted to show it to you today. And maybe I'll get through it, maybe I won't. But this is a project that made me plenty nervous, and so I'm challenging myself to show it to you live and see what it takes to get through it. So the product being advertised is this walker here, and they sell it in a few different colors, and they'd like to put it on their new product packaging. The challenge is they've decided that this particular walker will come with and without the pouch on the front. They would like me to remove this pouch and show the item itself without the pouch, meaning I'm going to have to replace his pants through here. I'm going to have to replace the structure itself through here, and I'm going to have to replace ground cover and rocks in the background. But I've done things like this before, so we'll see how it goes. This is all just my work in progress, so you're going to see me do it as I try to work through a solution live. So, for instance, here's the first thing I tried. I created a new empty layer here, and using the clone stamper, I proceeded to paint pants over the top of those bars. Now, this could in theory work if I were an amazing artist or something of that nature, but I'm not. You'll notice there's very dark and contrasty stuff going on the top. The bottom, of course, where the pant legs are more open, is allowing more light in, and this is a lot lighter. So not only would I be trying to make this seam, these ironing creases in the slacks, meet up from top to bottom, but I would also be trying to create a smooth transition in the fabric. The fabric itself also has its own challenges. You'll notice if I get in close that it has a grid. It has square graph marks all over it as part of its texture pattern. And even now, as I look at this, I just don't want to. So, here is some of the solution that I came up with. I'll turn that pants cover off. Here is another photo that I worked on for them in the past. It is the walker all by itself. And if I do this, we can look at it. So this is the product as I cut it out and isolated it for one of their other needs, one of their, just for packaging purposes. And I did recolors for it. So here's the copper toned version, here's the pink version that they also sell, and then the bluish that they also sell. So I've already worked those out, and I've organized them neatly into folders so that it's easy for the client to turn them on and off and just get their color taken care of on the fly. So that's what I'll be using, I think, to replace these bars going through the middle, is just reshaping and bending and twisting those metal bars to meet up here and here and then go across, as you can see, like that. So it's going to take a little bit of monkeying around to make that happen. But here's the other thing, and I don't have the client's permission to do this, but I really want to. I went online and found some pants, and they're not the right color. They're a little bit too rich and distracting, but I'll try and mute them down. And what I'd like to do right now is take this pair of pants that I've created. I've already started cutting it out, and that's when I kind of opted to film this. I'd like to make these pants into his pants and then try to hide the difference. And I'm going to use one of the newer tools, a tool that I don't typically use when I'm doing this kind of corporate work. I'm going to use the puppet warp and then try to hide any trickery that I have to do using the clone stamper and things like that. So, oh boy, here we go. So I'll get in nice and tight. I've made this into a smart layer, so I should be able to resize it and move it a bunch without doing anything destructive to the quality of the pixel density. But I'll go up to my edit menu and go to puppet warp right there. And this lays an intricate grid over the pants. And it looks like the model who wore these pants actually had a little bit more of a slender leg. They don't bunch as much as these pants in the background do. So that might create some challenges. But the puppet warp allows me to insert pins. So I'm going to pin these pants here and here and probably right here in the middle, so that this upper part remains anchored. Because what I'm going to do is insert pins in the bottom portion and stretch and move and treat them like a marionette. So I'll insert a pin here and a pin here. And now as I grab this pin, I can do all kinds of things, because it just applies that mesh to the entire, all of the pixel information of this selection that I've made, which is why it was important for me to isolate the pants to begin with. So I will try to drop these pants right over the shoe in a natural way, I hope. We'll go right about there. I'm going to insert another pin here right about at the knee. And because it's a smooth slack without a knee mark in it, I can probably get away with adjusting where the knee actually exists. I'll stretch it down and over about right there. And he's looking a little bit hippie now that I've done that. So I'll put a pin in here and just drag in. Oh, not quite. Maybe he needs to be. Okay, so I'll bring the hip in, and then I'll bring the top of the pant out. Oh, just a little bit more. Oh, guys, I'm so nervous. Normally you show off your Photoshop magic after it's done. Okay, so that's one pant leg done. Let's work on this one. I'm going to bring this up and just drop it over that shoe. Maybe it's a little bit baggy, and I don't mind too much. I can cover up extra pant. Okay, and then I'll grab the knee also, just like before. Let's drag this. Oh, okay. Now I'll bring this back just a little bit. And now let's zoom out with my control minus. I'm using my imagination right now. Once I've removed this pant from being over the top of his shirt, will this look like a natural posture for this guy? I'm kind of thinking it will. Just to be safe, I want to eliminate the space between the thighs. So let's see if I can close that gap. Put a pin in there and just drag it in ever so gently. Oh, it's gonna look doofy. Alright. The grid is pretty thick. Let's turn the mesh off and see how the pants look. Okay. Alright. Okay. I think I'm willing to live with it like this. Let's zoom in just a little bit and get my hand tool by holding spacebar. Okay, I need to adjust this down here again. Okay, this needs to come out. Oh, I don't want him to have rubber legs. He might look like he has rubber legs. I think right there is pretty good. Just distribute those out a little bit. And using my imagination, does he look... Oh, this is a tough one. Okay, I think I like it. I will commit those changes. Hit my enter key. So, before, after. I don't care about the belt. All of the belt stuff is going to be hidden away. The question is, does this look like he's wearing those pants from the zipper downward? And we will find that out in a moment. So, first thing I'm going to do, just to make this masking a little bit easier, I'm going to add a layer mask to this, which is just a series of white pixels. Now, on this white mask, anything that is white is revealed. Anything that is painted black is hidden. If I hold down the Alt key, I can look at what the mask looks like. See, it's all white. I'll click with my Alt key again to hide it. Let's dim these pants down ever so slightly to about halfway. And now when I zoom in, I can eliminate the pants without destroying them, which is what the eraser does. We never want to use the eraser because it's destructive. I might need these pants back for some reason. So with my normal paintbrush set to black, if I have this mask selected, I can paint out these pants. If I tap my X key to switch back to white, I can paint the pants back in. See, so it's non-destructive. I'm just selectively hiding things. So I'm going to paint out those pants right along that shirt line. And if you don't have a steady hand, that's okay, because you can always reverse your colors and paint things back into existence if you need to. His thumb is right here, and it's also going to intersect with those pants. So again, I'll get my brush, B for brush, use my left bracket to make my brush a smaller size, and I will paint that thumb so it's not being covered by pants. Going down. Alright. Right along there. Is there anything on this side? Nope. Okay. Now I'll zoom out one and increase my opacity again. And there are the pants. Now I can see that I didn't do a great job of brushing this, so I'll do another pass over that now that I've kind of laid it in there. Let's make the brush ever so soft. Just a slight soft edge. It'll create the illusion of the shirt casting a downward shadow on the pants. There we go. And even the little ironing creases will be enhanced by this. Okay, I like that, okay. And zooming out. Oh, guys, I think I did it. I think I did it. There's There's still some more to do with this, but that's a really good start. Okay, now they're too rich. The client obviously hand-picked these original pants that they used, so let's hide the fact that we replaced them. And I think the first thing we'll do is remove some of the vibrance. So here's a vibrance adjustment layer. When I move these sliders, I can make things more or less vibrant or saturated. What I'm going to do is hold down the Alt key and make this layer a slave of these new pants. If I click in between, I get that pair of circles, and that links them. So now, when I adjust these sliders, the only thing that will be adjusted is the layer that I applied it to. So let's go right about there. I kind of like that. Okay, let's turn the pants off. Everyone think clean thoughts while I turn these pants on and off. Not too bad. I could probably add some contrast and make them shadier, but who doesn't like the pants to look better than they normally would outdoors, am I right? Yeah. Wow. Very good. Okay. So now let's hide that bag and then see what we have to do to clean up those crossbars. So the one thing that the client gave us plenty of in this shot is we have lots of dirt. There's dirt everywhere. And that may be the one thing that makes this all work. So I'm going to scroll down to this bottom one. And I don't think I need this pants cover layer anymore. I think that was just a failed idea, but it was good practice. Sometimes when you beat your head against a problem long enough doing it a harder way, it becomes more obvious what you ought to do. The other photo that I did for them this morning was a case of that. I was replacing an entire background by hand and then realized that if I simply put the model into a new background, that would be 10 times faster. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on all of the gravel stuff first, and then I'll worry about this big chunk of boulder that I have to replace. So here we are in our background. Control-Shift-N, and I'll create a new layer, and I'll just call this gravel cover. That way, at a glance, I can see what I did in that layer. Okay, so this contrast over here is about the same as the original. I'll get my stamper, hold down Alt, select a good piece of gravel, firm up my brush. Now, because of the ordering of my layers, this is really slick. I can be a really messy painter because these pants are going to cover the bag anyway. Oh, I like it when I do smart things. So, let's go right along there and remove bag. And I'll go right up to the pants because the pants are in front of all of this. I'm going to have to remove that later, but I'm not too worried about that right now. Just painting out that bag. Oh, they're going to be so impressed. I'm going to get a raise or something. Okay, come down here and we'll paint this portion out. And right there, we'll get rid of the pants that were. Oh, this is so much fun to do, guys. You feel like a magician. You're just doing magic tricks. And it all happens in real time. Okay, just to be safe, I'll remove this bar as well. So I'll come over here And let's borrow some of these sticks and things. And I'll just paint right there. Just using my stamper. Oh, I'm getting a little bit saturated. Let's do another pass and blend it more. So I'll soften my brush by holding Shift and tapping on my bracket keys. And let's just blend with a soft brush. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so I'm going to simulate this angle a little bit. And they've given me plenty of that too. So let's grab these rocks right here. I don't think anybody will notice that these rocks are repeating, because there's going to be a crossbar and a bunch of other things right here. So, go right along there. Oh, do I dare? Do I dare grab the boulder too? Well, it's worth a try. I'll release my mouse button so I have a good undo point. And I'll just keep painting rock. Keep painting rock. Keep going. Alright, almost there. Very nice. It's a little bit dark. And it's definitely a repetition, but it's not too bad overall. I'll just borrow pieces of rock here, pieces of rock there. Just randomize this a lot. Okay, I'm getting nitpicky. I don't think anyone will notice, but the client knows that I did something, so you have to be really impressive to your client so that they, holy crap, guys. Sorry, I don't know if holy crap is relaxing, but look at that. Now, this is where you have to kind of step back and marvel at yourself, but no, I won't marvel yet. I won't marvel yet. We'll celebrate later. Let's grab some of this, and we'll paint it right there. Everybody think happy thoughts. Okay, there we go. So now, check this out. I love it. I love it. This is almost a new product line, guys. Look at this. You can have 2 independent wheeled canes. So, you could have one for either side. I don't know. I don't think they'll be able to sell it. Let's replace these bars. The middle bars I'll probably borrow from this right here, but the vertical bars I can probably get away with just painting using the existing bars. So we'll do that really quick. So zooming in, this bar needs to be replaced. So I'll hold down Alt right on the bar, and I love that they started doing this in the CS packages of Photoshop. They give you a live preview of what your brush is going to paint inside of the brush itself. You can put it exactly where it's supposed to go. So I just paint to the left, to the right, and that little bit of strap is gone. Let's borrow some of this darker and bring it down. This darker stuff. I think I'll set it at maybe 50% opacity by tapping my 5 key. And we'll paint. There we go. Almost a more natural blend, right? Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with this upper strap that got left behind. I'll click here with my Alt key, and I'll paint. Oh, I'm still at 50%. Okay, so tap 0 to get to 100% again. Paint to the left, paint to the right, back to the right, back to the right. And make my brush nice and small to get rid of those little edges. Very nice. Okay, left side is clean. In 1 minute, I'll just have to hook the 2 pieces back together using my voodoo magic. Okay, so this pole back here is completely covered up by where the bag was. So I will have to fake that pole I won't complain too much. I didn't want to do it, but okay. So that's everything. So this gravel cover is more of an everything color cover at this point. I'll rename it later. Okay, so paint to the right and to the left, up and down. Now I'll stick some gravel in that crack. And down and over. Get rid of all the black remnants there. This I know is going to be covered by the pole that I have to insert, but just to be safe I'll add some random elements so that it's not so repetitive there. Okay, that needs to be replaced, but fortunately I should have one on the other side. Did I remove it? Uh-oh, okay. Again, guys, this is live. Oh, you see that? There is a rubber thing up there. I'm going to have to put that back. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have removed that. I shouldn't have removed that. Okay, that's good news. Bring that back, and I will just bring that rubber part back into existence with my eraser, which you should never use. Never use the eraser. Okay, good. Now, having that, I can copy it to the other side, and that's probably what I'll do. It's a little bit of a lazy approach. So I'll alt-click right in the middle of this, bring it over here, make it bigger so I can kind of line it up. Make it smaller, and I'll just do a quick paint job right there. Okay. Now I'll use the eraser, which you should never use, to clean up that edge right there. There we go. And now I just have to fix that forward arm. So S for stamper again, come all the way down here and line up with my pipe right about there. Oops, I'm painting too much. You don't want to paint too much. Let's make our brush the right size. So make it about the size of the pipe itself and go up. There we go. Up, 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 and right about there is where it ends. Fill that in right there. Now we have a little metallic part to fix right there. So we'll go get that. Okay, so there she is. I think I'll just do a copy paste. So Control Shift C gives me a merged copy, and then I'll paste. And it comes over here. I'll do a Control T for transform. I'll put a negative sign in front of this so that it gets flip-flopped. Bink. Very good. I'll hit enter to commit that change, and then I'll do another transform to line it up. So we can almost just use the knobs as an alignment thing. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so kind of bump that into place with my arrow keys, which I can do because I have the move tool enabled. And I'll use the eraser, which you should never do. It's very bad. Just trace around that, trace around that. If I make any mistakes, I'll pay for it because it's the eraser tool. Okay, and bump it to the left a little bit. It looks kind of dull. I'll press Control L to do a levels command on it and just brighten up the mid ever so slightly. So if I uncheck this preview, you can see the before and after on the preview. Okay, little bit of a black shadow down here that I want to get rid of. So I'll go back to my gravel cover and grab my stamper, grab this edge, and paint edge on that part. Bring it over. Now I've got a bit of a smudge there, but that's okay. I can blend smudges, I just need to get rid of edges before they cause too much trouble. Oh, yeah, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know, guys, except you and me. Alright, very nice. I've got a little bit of extra along here that I want to fix. So, just kind of get rid of that glowy look that it has. Oops, too far. Tracing along. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad, guys. Alright, I like it. This pipe here looks a little crooked. Just a little crooked. But I'm going to finish the crisscross and then decide if it really bothers me. If it really bothers me, I'll address it. I'll merge that down so that it's all one big cover layer. I'll just call this bag cover, because really that's what we did with it. Alright, so now our new walker. They wanted it in the copper color also. Okay, so for this, okay, I'll grab the entire new walker folder and try to position that crossbar where it should go, at least in the front. And then it's got to meet up back there somewhere. I'm going to press Control T for transform and transform the whole folder. And let's see if I can make that line up. Okay, so what's it supposed to grab onto? It's supposed to grab onto those little clips. So I gotta line that up with the two clips. It's lined up with one clip. If I stretch it over, I can line it up with the other clip. And let's grab that one and get it lined up. Then how's my bottom one? Okay, it's got to come up like that. And that tends to bump everything around, so I gotta readjust these now. Pretty well lined up. Pretty well. Okay, right about there. And okay, I'm going to hit enter and commit those changes. Now. So those are the recolor layers taking effect. Now I've got to remove everything that isn't those crossbars. So we'll go in. I've already masked most of this, but I have to paint out everything that's not useful. So B for brush. I've already got the mask, and I can remove that wheel. That's extra. And undo that. Undo it again. Let's make my brush nice and firm and go right in there. Trace along there. Paint that out. And paint all of this. Oh boy, we didn't quite line up. Can see that already. Okay, I think what I'm going to commit to doing at this point is to finish. I'm going to finish the crossbar. Yeah, I'm going to finish roughing all of this in, and then I'll address that in a minute. Okay, so this part comes up. goes up and it meets right here. Oh, okay, that one's pretty close. Remove the extra handle. Very good. Now remove this extra wheel. Very nice. Right there. Okay, does this line up? Oh, it's pretty close. I'm going to have to finesse that a lot. But let's come up here and remove some of this. Oh, that's almost perfect. Almost. Okay, and then remove the extra handle on top. Okay, very nice. Very nice. Okay, so a couple more challenges left on our hands here. For the sake of making this flow better, let's hit Alt and look at my actual mask and remove everything that we absolutely do not need. Control Shift I to invert my selection. Alt backspace to fill everything with black. That'll get rid of any stray lines. Now I just gotta focus on making all of this line up and be pretty and perfect. This, let's see. Oh, no, that doesn't go behind his legs. That goes in front. We just need it to extend out to the back rail. So, trim that so that it looks like it's behind. And that looks pretty good too. Now I just have to create fake rail for that back. And for that, I'm going to go back to my bag cover layer. Normally, no, let's play it safe. I'm going to make a new layer and call it new rail. Let's call it new back rail. Okay. I'm going to get this rail back here, make my brush about the size of the rail, Alt click it here, and I'm going to paint it into existence. Right back there. Let me disable this for a second just so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Up and up. Very close. There's a little bit of a highlight, but I think I'm okay. Let's repeat that again, just to make it meet up. So I'll click here and do it again. And I'm going to fake this with the smudge. I'm going to smudge these two pipes into each other. Yeah, it'll give it a little dull spot, but no one will notice. Okay, I'll grab my lasso tool. The polygonal lasso is the best lasso, and I won't take any argument to the contrary. If you turn on caps lock, you can get a precise cursor, which allows you to see exactly where you're clicking when you go along here and delete that glow that I accidentally put in. I'm also going to polygonal lasso along here, straight as a rail, to delete that part that should be in the background. There we go. So before after. Much better. Alright, backing out. Oh man. Oh, okay. Gotta do that forward cross piece. Go back up here and turn it on. Okay. Alright. I'm going to commit this to here. I'm committing this mask. That way, when I transform it right now, I will transform only what I need to and not all the rest. Okay, bringing it up and dropping it right there. Oh, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. We are so blessed to live in a technological age when these things are possible. I just love it. Okay, there we go. So now the coloring, the copper coloring, is being applied to a bunch of stuff that it doesn't need to be. So let's go up to my copper layer. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Let's see what I did. Okay, so I've got one layer there that's being applied to certain spots. I think I'll need to redo all of that. So let's do it. Okay, so that layer will just be blacked out. This layer will be blacked out. And turn off the pink. Oops. Turn off the pink. Alright. Starting from scratch now. I'm going to go down here. Get my lasso. I'm going to select this bar. I'm going to go all the way up. Using my space bar makes things really fast. Go around that shape there. Come down to there. Trace around that piece. Go along that. So much fun. Tracing. It's like I'm building a little corral. A little pen for the animals to gallop around in. Go down, and around the leg. At the foot there. And I'll hit my keyboard shortcut. Control backspace. And that coloring is now applied. If I want to nitpick, I'll press B for brush and just take this dot out of the equation so it's not being colored. I think that'll be more important on the pink version because no one wants a pink rivet. Okay, I'm coming up, go around this, and down the leg, around this rubber stopper thing, and come up again. And I'll do that part next, so we'll just go around this. And around that. Out to the edge of this. So some of these chores can be a little bit tedious. One of my pro tips for anyone who might be doing this sort of thing in their professional life is turn on a nice relaxing ASMR video while you roto and cut things out, because it's nice and relaxing, and even if you hate doing it, it can put your brain in a nice place. That's what I do. Right now I can't though because I'm talking to you guys. Alright, I've selected all of that. I'll subtract this little spot from the selection. And with a keyboard shortcut, it becomes copper in my copper color layer, except for that rivet. Tracing, tracing. There we go. We'll go around this little bit and down, down and down, and up, and make a turn and go this way. All the way down. There we go. And up. And down. And up. I tell you what, the internet can be a marvelous, marvelous place. When I think about how scared I was when I was faced with taking care of these pants, the internet was full of pants. There are so many pants on the internet, you wouldn't believe it. I know there are lots of non-pants on the internet, but there were pants on the internet that worked great for this project. And they weren't even a stock photo that I would need to pay for. They were just pants, just kicking around the internet. And they saved my bacon on this project. Because I don't know what I would have done if I had to somehow paint those pants into existence where that bag used to be. Alright, that looks good. So add my color to that. Very nice. We'll come over here and do the same thing. Oh, this is wrong. Yeah, I think this is wrong. Isn't it wrong? Yeah. Yeah, that's supposed to attach to the back. Okay, what am I gonna do? Think. We'll go like this, and then we'll just kind of fudge our edge. We've had to jump through a lot of hoops to make this photo happen, so a little bit of a fudged edge isn't going to make anyone too upset. Okay, let's scroll down here. And where's my... Oh, okay, it's right here. Got a little lost. So that rail, I'll add a mask to it, because I applied the mask before. I'm just gonna kind of hide the fact that this is mounted funny. Like that. I don't think anyone will notice. I hope not. That would be embarrassing. If they reached out to me and said, "Hey, image mortician, what were you doing?" Okay, so we'll go up to our coloring and continue the coloring. Just trace around the little loop. Almost looks like the eye of a bird or something. And go down here and trace around that thing that we painted into existence just a moment ago. Makes me feel good inside, realizing that that's all fake and that I put it there. Feels good. Okay, coming down to this joint here. Very nice. Going up. Okay, I didn't quite get all of the blue, so I'm going to undo, and then we'll do a little trick with the refine edge command. I'm just going to have this shift the edge outward more. About like that. Come on, work with me. refine edge, and shift the edge outward. I think I'm misunderstanding that tool. I don't normally use it in that way. I normally use it once I've committed all of those changes to a mask. That's probably why it's not working. Okay, I'll go around this and drop down. There we go. Very nice. Okay, and almost done. Hopefully this isn't the boring part of the video. I could always put it in fast forward if you want. If you prefer to have the more tedious parts fast forwarded through so you can just watch them quickly, let me know in the comments, because I'd be glad to do that. But we're almost done. So go around there and go around each little plastic piece down to the wheel. And blink that out. And zoom. Oh my goodness, we missed some spots. Okay, let's zoom up. Go here. I'm going to get this taken care of. I think the funny thing about doing this right now is I actually painted this Walker blue probably 3 years ago. It wasn't originally blue. I think it may have even been copper. Maybe it was the pink version, but anyway, 3 years ago I probably felt like the project was over with and chucked the file. And now I'm redoing it all over again. So you never know. Alright folks, zooming out. Wow. 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 Okay. So I'm going to take this, these changes that I made to this layer, and I'm going to copy them to this layer. There we go. That way it's also being darkened. See that? That's a lot closer to the actual product color too. Okay. One thing that I'm noticing right now is that box is a dark black plastic, and for whatever reason it's not matching well. So I'll add it to this layer, this curve that just darkens everything down. I think if I apply that darkening to the little plastic box, it will be convincing enough without having to do much more with it. And I'm seeing kind of feathered lines going around this too. So let's get that taken care of too. So I'll get my lasso again, go right along that line, and hide it, and go right along this line, down along the plastic box, and hide it, okay, and across the top edge, because it shouldn't really have a highlight there. Just trim that off. Pick. And trim along this top line. Pink. And then across the bottom here. Over to the edge. Okay, there's a little bit of a blue halo, but no one is going to look at it at that zoom. I want to dull this down, it's too shiny. Sorry if I'm nitpicking too much, but I do have to turn this in tomorrow. So, let's go with levels, and let's see if I apply it, bring it down here. Oh, I already had one. Oh, okay. Well, for heaven's sake, why did I have a levels layer that was brightening things up? Oh, that's for the pink. Never mind. Okay. Bring this down here and apply it to this. Oh, it's not for the pink. Okay, we'll do it fresh. This all needs to be done fresh anyway. Okay, so I don't want my shadows doing that. I think this is going to be a case of doing some sort of gamma adjustments like that, and then brighten just a little bit. Let me see what that does for it. It kind of evens things out a little bit. I think it's alright. I think we've got it. Okay, so one thing left to do, as far as I know, and that's apply these changes to the pink version, just in case they decide that they've changed their mind and want the pink version. So I'll copy that mask there, and that's all I needed to do. Turn the copper version off, turn the pink version on, and that is effectively a pink version. Some of the rivets are pink, but they never asked for the pink version. This is just me being nice. So we'll turn that off, turn the copper on, zoom out, and there you have it, folks. That was one of the scariest things I've had to do in a long time, and you got to watch it live. So holding down my Alt key and clicking on the background, here's your before and your after. And all of that is fake. Oh my goodness gracious. That is something else. Alright, I hope this has been informative and relaxing, and have a great time in all of your adventures. Bye-bye.